Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. Today's video, we're going to have an update here from James K. Fallon in regards of the documents going on within the Ripple versus SEC case. I'm going to check out this nice tweet thread from Johnny Deaton responding to Eleanor's Tarrant tweet here talking about how regulatory experts are sliding over to jobs in the crypto industry. A digital asset investor has puts his 2 cents on kind of how we're allowed to buy certain assets, but XRP is seen as like taboo and you shouldn't use it or it's too dangerous for you. And then Crypto Eddie puts up this great little infographic here in regards of that argument of, you know, XRP was never meant for retail and it's only meant for, you know, the banks and the institutions. It kind of puts up this great little diagram that we're going to cover. A couple different tweet threads here. And then this Bull Deep has this great little 2 minute 20-second video on Binance Academy on the XRP ledger, which is, I think, is quite informative. We're going to play that. And then the I guess the height of this video is going to be this conversation, this dialogue that's been happening with, you know, the YouTuber Atozy being sued by Bitboy Crypto from Ben Armstrong from Bitboy Crypto and David Schwartz. Ben clearly poked the bear when it comes to David Schwartz. So we're going to look at what he says in regards of Ben's approach to sue this other YouTuber. It's going to be quite interesting. And then we're going to end on this Cointelegraph article, or second to end on this Cointelegraph article here talking about NFTs being stolen. And we're going to cover some of Tyler from Chico Crypto's information that he put out in his recent video. So starting with James K. Fallon here, where he says the SEC has filed a request to file one omnibus or big reply up to 90 pages in length in further support of its motion to exclude the testimony of defendants' expert witnesses. Moon Limbo puts something down here, goes slightly confused. Didn't SEC already propose this at the beginning of July? What's the difference between the SEC request and the new one today? James K. Fallon says, one is the original request to file on the omnibus motion to exclude, and this one is a motion to file the omnibus reply to the original motion. It lets the parties just file one big document, each covering everything. So, I mean, for I guess the layman people or the people that's not in this, you know, the legal world, seeing this motion to the motion of the rebuttal of the reply of this and that, it's just like, okay, that's why these court proceedings take so long, especially something as high and as big as the SEC or the Ripple versus SEC case. It's absolutely crazy. And clearly we know that the SEC's tactic is delay, delay, delay. That's like their main strategy because they literally have little to no power or leverage when it comes to their fight within this case. Coming over here, Johnny Deaton put up this great tweet thread here. Eleanor Tarrant says, let me zoom in, it says, the news continues a trend of regulatory experts sliding over to jobs in the crypto industry. So we've been seeing that over the past few years, that you're seeing like these high level players, you know, migrate into these actual blockchain and crypto jobs because they see the writing on the wall. They see where this future's headed. So Johnny Deaton starts by saying, here's a quote, Clayton isn't new to the crypto space since leaving the SEC. He went to Fireblock in One River. So that's a former SEC chairman, Jay Clayton. As awful as Gary Gensler, who is our current chair of the SEC, Clayton will go down as the one who blew the greatest opportunity. As chairman, he had Hester Pierce and Elad Roisman also on the commission. Deaton continues. In other words, Clayton had the votes. He could have adopted Hester Pierce's safe harbor proposal, and the commission could have provided guidelines or decentralized markers or whatever for companies like Ripple, Library, Dragon Chain, etc. to meet within a 3 to 5 year period or register. But he didn't implement such a no-brainer policy regarding regulations. Instead, his and Hinman's SEC engaged in selective enforcement actions despite the recent sworn testimony of the SEC enforcement director. Jay Clayton intentionally chose to not implement an era of regulatory clarity. Instead, Clayton ignored the massive conflicts of interest regarding his law firm, Sullivan and Cromwell, who represented Consensus and Joseph Lubin, in the acquisition of the Quorum and JPM coin, a direct competitor versus Ripple, and voted to sue Ripple as he walked out the SEC's door. So we talked a lot about this, and if you haven't been keeping up with this channel, if you go back to our past videos, we have specific videos pertaining to this whole debacle here and this conflicts of interest and shady behind closed door deals that was happening. So highly recommend you go update yourself if you haven't on that information there. Johnny Dean continues, he says, at his confirmation here, Clayton swore under oath to recuse himself before voting on an enforcement action regarding his firm's clients. Instead, he voted to bring an action against his law firm's client's competitor. Ethically speaking, it's the same difference. He continues, the Clayton and Hinman conflicts of interest and gross appearances of impropriety are well documented, and I've written multiple threads about it. The point here is that Clayton could have fostered innovation in this country without compromising the securities laws. He intentionally chose not to. According to the reporting of Eleanor Terry and Charles Gasparino, it was a 3-2 vote on the bringing the Ripple XRP case. If true, Clayton voted against Hester and Elon. Why? He ignored massive conflicts and voted against his fellow Republican commissioners to file the most significant non-fraud SEC enforcement action in modern history. And keep in mind with that, what he says, the most significant non-fraud SEC enforcement action in modern history. On top of that, you have over 72,000 XRP holders that's been affected by the SEC's this enforcement that they brought on. In the class action lawsuit with Johnny Deaton, that's literally representing themselves against the SEC. The SEC is in place to protect us as the investors. So all 72,000 plus of us have to stand up to protect ourselves against the SEC. I mean, does that not spell like craziness? Absolutely sickening. He continues, regarding the hottest topic, digital currency in global trade and finance, on his last day walking out the door. So that's when he filed this non-fraud SEC enforcement action. He concludes here, if Clayton would have done what he should have, he wouldn't be writing op-eds in the Wall Street Journal about how the U.S. must now get crypto regulations right. He was in charge less than 2 years ago. The fact that he can even write an article saying that makes a crypto holder sick. Absolutely. Great thread by Johnny Deaton. I want to shout out Johnny Deaton for, always, staying strong in there, fighting the good fight for all of us, represent over 72,000 XRP holders that's been affected with this case. Digital Asset Investor puts up this tweet. It says, the SEC allows you to buy Doge at the grocery store, but XRP is too dangerous. Hold your XRP tight. These people aren't honest. I mean, for those of us that are in this community that's been a part of, this Ripple versus SEC stuff and, being kind of kept up to date and kind of what's going on in regards of regulation by enforcement from Gary Gensler, SEC, we all know that this has been a thing. It's crazy. Crypto Eddie puts this up. It says, just five of many more examples why XRP is not for retail is just not true. Some projects use XRP, some only use the ledger, and some use both. We are not in 2018. What is that? Toto? I think that's from a movie or something. Right here. So it says Ripple, investment Flare networks, retail DeFi, liquidity hub, enabling enterprise to create retail services, 100 million Forte fund, retail games, Fluff World retail NFT metaverse, Ripple X grants hundreds of retail facing projects. And then there's a Jungle Eek has said, thank you so much, Crypto Eddie. This XRP is only for institutional BS, drives me nuts. XRP is for whatever someone wants it to be used for, pretty much, which is straight up and down. And this is a great video right here. It's about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I thought it was pretty informative, so I want to play it here. It says, Binance Academy on XRP Ledger. Key points. XRP is the first major blockchain that is certifiably carbon neutral. Use cases, payments, tokenization, DeFi, been functioning since 2012. Fully decentralized. No single point of failure. So let's take a quick listen in.
The XRPL is stable, scalable, fast, and energy efficient. It has continuously confirmed transactions since its deployment in 2012. While supporting more than 1,500 transactions per second and transaction speeds of 3 to 5 seconds. Transactions are cheap. The average transaction cost on the XRPL is less than a fraction of a penny. The XRPL is friendly to our planet. It is the first major blockchain to be certifiably carbon neutral. The network uses a federated consensus protocol to confirm transactions in which designated independent servers, known as validators, must come to an agreement on the order and outcome of XRP transactions. All verified transactions are processed without a single point of failure, as no single participant can decide which transactions take priority. The cryptocurrency native to the XRP ledger is XRP, a neutral bridge asset that is optimized for payments anywhere. With billions of XRP traded daily, XRP functions as a medium of exchange to facilitate cross-border payments quickly, cheaply, and sustainably. It can also be used to transact on XRP Ledger's decentralized exchange, DEX, or engage with tokenized assets. The main applications of the XRP Ledger are payments. Using the XRP Ledger, assets can be moved across the world, enabling near-instant money transfers for remittances, treasury payments, payrolls, and other cross-border payments. Tokenization. The XRP Ledger supports the tokenization of any asset, from fungible tokens, stablecoins, NFTs, and central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. As of May 2022, more than 5,400 currencies have been issued and traded on the XRPL. DeFi. Financial products and services can be accessed via XRP Ledger's DEX. The DEX is native to the protocol and uses a central limit order book model to trade digital assets. Users can access the DEX through a variety of order book interfaces to trade directly on the XRP Ledger. Thanks to its global developer community, the XRP Ledger's open-source platform is suitable for C++, Java, JavaScript, and Python developers seeking an environment to build new projects or use cases. The XRP Ledger offers great flexibility for developers to create use cases across tokenization.
So yeah, shout out this video. That's huge. Very concise, informative, got some visuals. And quite honestly, there's been this massive, almost put together agenda or narrative that's been down ripple, negative XRP, yada yada yada. And it's cool to see that this is coming from the Binance Academy. That's absolutely massive. That's huge. Now continuing on to the topic of the day. So this is Atozy, who is I enjoy his content, puts a lot of content out there on YouTube, has a nice, over 1 million something YouTube channel. So he says, I wish I didn't have to make this thread, but I'm being sued by the YouTuber Bitboy Crypto for a video I made roughly 9 months ago covering how he promoted a project named PAMP. Last night, third person Bitboy sent to my house showed up and served me the lawsuit. So David Schwartz says, here's a complaint. It's shockingly bad. Perhaps the most ridiculous claim is that describing someone as a dirtbag can be defamatory. So things are going to heat up here. So it says, this is from XRP Crypto. It says, don't you know he's the XRP Army Supreme Leader? Why do you think who do you think you are? Pretty much kind of joking around. XRP Crypto says, and then Ben Armstrong goes, I thought we were on the same team, laugh out loud. So we're going to come back to that comment that Ben made in our next thread here from Bill. So this from Ben Armstrong here. It says, you can't literally make up lies and accusations about people. There are consequences for this because you tell two truths and one lie that doesn't excuse the lie. Hate me all you want, but at the end of the day, people will be held accountable for lies and slander, period. David Short says, please identify one specific statement that you can prove is a lie. I read your complaint and couldn't find a single one. Ben Armstrong says, after the case is over, unless confidentiality is part of the settlement, I would love to discuss this, but unfortunately, I cannot make specific statements until this is over. This was never supposed to be public, which him saying that is quite interesting, and we're going to cover it later. This was never supposed to be public. I respect you and would love to have this convo. David Schwartz says, so you're perfectly comfortable accusing people of spreading provable lies on Twitter, but suddenly uncomfortable when asked to show one specific instance of a provable lie. Honest question, what conclusion do you think people should draw from that? Ben says, because it's a lawsuit, David, and it's ongoing, any statement with specific hurts the case. With specifics hurts the case. Like I said, this was not supposed to be public. I do my fighting behind closed doors, but it's where it is, and I've been advised against making statements, so I'm going to do that. David says that's probably best. Since this kind of BS is utterly indefensible. Seriously, how could any contempt lawyer put these obvious statements of opinion and pretty much only these in defamation complaint? So he's put up this. Let me zoom out here so we can see it. So he put up this screenshot of the complaint. It says, Atozy's video continues. Atozy's quote-unquote dirtbag attacked with this statement. Quote, so in case you didn't know what an absolute sleazy dirtbag of a YouTuber is, here's Bitboy Crypto, a prime example of that. On another occasion, Atozy's video states that this man Armstrong has enriched himself by being an all-around dirtbag. So continue. Oh, what happened? So continuing on down here, David Schwartz says, the guy thinks you're a dirtbag. He's entitled to his opinion. I'm sure lots of people think I'm a scammer. They're entitled to their opinion. It doesn't mean they're liars. And he puts up this code or whatever the heck it is. It says, oh, one last thing, just in case anyone doesn't see through your nonsense. if you really wanted to protect your reputation and could prove his statements are false, wouldn't you just present the proof now to protect your reputation? Is hurting him more important? And then we have this. Is there one more? Let me make sure I got this right. So yeah, there's a couple more. He says because this person says sounds like he's out for revenge, dodging all the questions and stuff. So then David Schwartz says this kind of thing really bothers me. And by the way, I think it's likely that more blame belongs on his lawyers than on him, which I agree with. Especially reading this, they may well have filed him with righteous rage about liars. Whatever the heck his name, pretty much slandering his good name, and he may have bought it, or he may be evil. I don't know. I mean, I doubt he's evil, but okay. And then David Schwartz says one thing that leads me to the terrible lawyer scenario is this statement he made. Quote: "This was never supposed to be public," and that's kind of why I was saying. So he says, if he genuinely believed he could prove that these statements were lies, why wouldn't he want it to be public as possible? And that's kind of what I was thinking. Reading the entire thing is like, why wouldn't you want to, if you have irrefutable facts, right, and proof, why wouldn't you just put it out there? Especially someone like Ben Armstrong from Bitboy Crypto. It's like you have like all these these insiders, and you feed out certain information. Obviously, I don't know all the ins and outs of these laws and what's going on through litigation, but it's like if you have irrefutable facts and you're worried about it affecting your case, but it's going to prove your case. Like, interesting. But that's kind of like what's been happening. It's been quite interesting. And like I said, I actually watched a lot of Atozy's videos, and I really enjoy his content. It seems like a really great guy, and I think he has his girlfriend on the podcast with him, which is a really great YouTube channel. Bill's responding to this whole when Ben says, "I thought we were on the same team." Bill says, "You have rightly called out Gary Gensler and the SEC and supported Ripple in the lawsuit, which is commendable, but I would not sue someone for a harsh comment. I mean, I didn't sue the Bitcoin maxi who called me a legal parasite for merely commenting on the SEC lawsuit." And that's a solid and fair point for sure. Going to be quite interesting to see how things go. I really hope, obviously, Atozy had made a video asking for, donations in Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever. And he says anything left over was going to be utilized and allocated to a charity of his choice. But I guess he says he's going to fight the fight against Ben Armstrong. So we're going to see what happens. Hopefully, things don't get too crazy within that litigation there. Cointelegraph here says more than 100 million worth of NFTs stolen since 2021. It says the firm reported that although the market downturn has caused the value of NFTs to slump, scammers stole an estimated 4,647 of tokens in July 2022. So the reason why I'm putting this up here is because you always got to do your best to protect yourself, okay? Even if it's not NFTs, it's, your digital assets, whatever it is, Bitcoin, crypto, Ethereum, whatever, Solana, put your stuff in cold storage and get it off exchanges and do everything in your power to protect yourself. Two-factor authentication, all these different things to protect yourself because they're out there to get you, especially when this thing turns around. It's going to get real ugly out there. And I wanted to touch on this from Blockchain Leaks. This is from Tyler from Chico Crypto. He put out a video that says, biggest housing crash ever is coming, worse than 2008. So I've been seeing a lot of people commenting on this. I want to say over like the past 6 months, it's kind of been leading up into like, when's it going to crash? The housing market's too high. And what about 2008? So he puts up a lot of infographics within his video. It does a great job explaining things. And one of the biggest things that stood out to me, and this is kind of how I've been feeling about one of the major reasons why I invest into the crypto space, is he was saying, okay, what would you rather have? Would you rather hold, say you bought your house, within the past like 2 years, whatever, did we buy the market top when it comes to housing prices? Who knows? But he's saying, would you rather hold, Bitcoin, which has been appreciating massively over years, would you rather hold that for 5 to 10 years, or would you rather hold a house that you've recently bought for 5 to 10 years? Which one's going to appreciate the most? And he had a good point of like, I would rather hold a Bitcoin because that Bitcoin could be worth a nice down payment of 20% or more on a house, or you can buy multiple houses depending on at what point you hodl and sell your Bitcoin. They're saying, and there's been a poll that I think it was Benjamin from Into the Cryptoverse. He was saying he put up a poll, and a lot of people were saying that they felt during the next cycle, Bitcoin was going to be in the $100,000 to $200,000 range. And there was, I think it was like something like 15% said it was going to be greater than 200,000. So who knows how massive it's going to be, depending on, spot Bitcoin ETFs, regulation and adoption. Who knows where it's going to be in the next, by the next cycle or the next 5 to 10 years. But the whole point is, like, would you rather hold one Bitcoin and have a greater odds of appreciation, or would you rather hold on to a house that you bought at the top? He was just kind of putting that distinction out there. Everyone has their, their different motives, or, what works best for them and their family, whatever the case is. But I thought for myself personally, why I kind of sacrifice, going on a lot of trips or spending a lot of money on, tangible things, or, entertainment, or whatever the case is, and I invest what I can into the crypto space, because I feel like over time I truly believe it's gonna appreciate more, and it's gonna allow me to do a lot more with it. So I really valued what he said in this video, and there's a lot of great content. I highly recommend you go check out Chico Crypto's YouTube video of biggest housing crash ever is coming, worse than 2008. But that's the update I have for you. 20 minutes. I really didn't want to talk that long, but here we are. Make sure you come to the Crypto's Key Conversation YouTube channel and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at CryptoIsKey1. I really appreciate your support. Really excited to continue to grow this community. We've recently just had like 50 subs over like the past 2 weeks, which is huge. Really appreciate you guys. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.